Are you ready to uplevel your sales game? Well, here is a gift for you. It is the Mastering the Sales Conversation mini training. This training gives you my proven step-by-step approach to sales so that you can go from that overwhelmed and intimidated approach that you have to sales to feeling confident and leading a conversation so that you easily guide somebody to hiring you. You can get it right now by going to yoursalesmaven.com/mastering. This is my gift to you. Go grab it now.
Do sales conversations make you feel awkward or pushy? It's time to ditch the outdated salesy strategies. Your guide, Nikki Roush, will show you how to combine kindness with selling skills to meet your prospects where they are, and in the process, how to uplevel your influence and income. Learn how to earn business easily and effortlessly. Here's Nikki.
Welcome, and thank you for listening to the Sales Maven Show. I'm your host, Nikki Roush, your own personal sales maven, here to offer you tips and strategies and techniques to master your sales conversation. Today is an on-air coaching call with one of our brilliant, amazing, absolutely one of the happiest people in the Sales Maven Society. It's Tracey Wheeler. Tracey, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Nikki. I appreciate you having me here, and I think that my cat is going to join us on this show.
Okay, the cat is welcome. Oh my gosh, I'm so happy to get this time with you. I just think you are so, like, the name of your business is so you. So I want you to share a little bit about you and your business, because I feel like you just radiate happiness and love and sunshine everywhere you go.
Thank you so much for saying that. I appreciate that. The name of my business is called Sunny Virtual Business Support, and I provide customized virtual bookkeeping management and business support solutions for ambitious service-based entrepreneurs who are stressed out due to growth in their business. And I help them to untangle the mess in their books so that they can regain clarity around their finances and have the information needed to grow their businesses even better. So that's me and my business.
So, what is a good indicator for somebody who, like, when they're experiencing X and they don't have somebody who has come in like you to do their books, when is that like, oh my gosh, I need Tracey moment?
When they are experiencing stress because they are at tax time and they can no longer get away with the spreadsheet business. So I have a lot of people that, start off with spreadsheets, and there's nothing wrong with that. That's a great place to start. You have to start somewhere, right?
Yeah.
I would prefer you start there than get into a software, because at that point, then it becomes a whole different mess. So
to untangle.
Oh my God, is this something? Because now you're dealing with the software and the spreadsheet business all together.
Okay.
So when they have the spreadsheet, they have their box of receipts or their receipts virtually, and they go to their CPA, and their CPA says, you need a bookkeeper. That's when you want to come looking for me.
Yeah.
Because at that point, the CPA is, most likely either going to do one of the two things. They'll do your taxes where they will untangle the books in their own way, but it will cost a lot more money, and it will not provide the management information most likely that you need to run your business. It's just for tax purposes, or they won't do anything and they'll just tell you to go find a bookkeeper and come back when you're done, because they don't have the capacity to help you in that way. So, yeah.
I think a bookkeeper is a game changer in a business. And I luckily got some advice when I first started my business, was to get a bookkeeper. And I actually knew a woman through a networking group. And so we started working together, and then she changed her business model, and she's like, you no longer like fit, you need to find somebody else. And I found somebody else that somebody came recommended. She has been my bookkeeper for probably over 10 years that I'm coming up on 11 years of my business. And I swear I've never met her in person. We live in different states. I love this woman. Like, I'm so grateful for the work that she does in my business. And she has grown with me, like the things that, that now are required. Cause, at first I was an LLC, and now I'm an S Corp, and like all of that stuff. It is a game changer. It takes so much stress off of me of not having to like, what form am I supposed to sign and send and by what date? Like she gives it all to me. It
Yeah.
is the absolute best thing ever. I think
Yeah.
it's worth every single dollar I invest in my business in this way. It pays dividends in so many other ways, mostly peace of mind.
Yeah, I'm so happy you said that, because I think sometimes as business owners, we forget that we don't want to, step over a $100 bill to save $1, right?
Mhm.
We're so focused, especially when we're in the middle of the beginning stages and the growth stages of our business. We're so focused on the dollar amount that we're spending versus looking at how much are we investing in our business to gain back some of that time needed to work on other areas of the business.
Mhm.
And like you said, bookkeeping is an invaluable tool to have asset to have in your business, because it affects every part of your business, your finances. When you go to get a loan, you need to have a most of the time, especially if you're in the beginning stages of your business and you're going into the growth, they want to see a business plan and your financial statements. So
Mhm.
that spreadsheet is not going to help you when it comes to that. Or even when you're growing, they want you want to see, can you afford to hire a team member,
Yes.
right? And a lot of times I've had business owners who have just hired a team member and they had to lay them off because they didn't have the capital, the revenue coming in to really support that hire. So definitely an asset for your business.
Yes, yes, yes. If you don't have a bookkeeper and you're listening to this podcast, I'm going to say I recommend it highly. It's worth every dollar you'll spend and it will pay dividends for you in so many ways. So, okay, so now if somebody is listening and thinking like I need some help with this, do you work with people all across the United States? Do you only work with people in certain areas, certain types of business? What are the parameters?
Right. So I'm virtual, just like your bookkeeper. You've never met her face to face. I'm
Yeah.
virtual. I'm located just outside of Las Vegas, Nevada. I'm in Henderson, Nevada. And I help people from all across the country. And a lot of times I have never seen them either. I've never met them in person. So maybe via Zoom, maybe.
Yeah.
But a lot of times it's just, I use Slack to communicate a lot with my clients. That's like the primary tool. And we're just slacking all day, talking to each other. And we may jump on a Zoom, to have a call, but I can help people across the country. So,
That's
yeah.
awesome. That's
Yeah.
awesome. So you'll be delighted to get to have somebody like Tracey serve you. I will say, like every time I see you on a call, I feel happier.
Aw.
Every time I see a question from you, I feel happier. Like you just exude so much positive energy. Like you're really something special. I hope you know that.
Oh, thank you so much for saying that. I appreciate that.
I adore you so much.
I love
Okay.
being in the group. I love being in the group. We'll
Oh,
get we'll get to
we
that
love
later.
you. We love you too. We love you too. Okay, here's my question for you, or no, here's my question. What is your question for me? How can I serve you today? This is actually about you and your coaching. How can I serve you?
Okay, so how do you communicate in a way that drives sales? I
Mhm.
go to a lot of networking events, and I just can get lost in the conversation sometime, and I'm not sure, I don't want to be pushy, but I want to maybe invite somebody to have a phone discovery call with me just to talk about their business and see how I can help them better. So what is a good way to communicate that to drive the sale?
I think first and foremost, you have to start by creating some curiosity to
Mhm.
see, are you talking to somebody who, gosh, it'd just be nice to be in the networking group with them, or are you talking to a prospective client? So typically that's going to come from you creating curiosity first and foremost. Now you can do that in a couple ways. One is how you answer the question, like, what do you do? And which is a common question at networking, like, oh, what's your business? What do you do? And my suggestion, if at all possible, is to ask them the question first about
Mhm.
their business, because then once you know what that person does, I'd love for you to have an answer that feels it is about what you do, but talk about it in a way that serves people like them. Right.
Okay,
So if
that's
somebody
good.
says, let me see, like, oh, I'm a leadership coach, right? And I help businesses. I go in and work with businesses who blah, 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 blah. And then they say, well, what do you do, Tracey? And you could say, I'm a bookkeeper that works with service-based businesses like you to help them untangle their finances, the thing that you would
Mm-hmm.
say, but you have this little like you, right? Like you
Yeah.
don't say
Yeah.
specifically leadership coaches, hire
Right.
me, right? But you could say, small business owners like you, or people who work or have their own companies like you, hire me to be their bookkeeper, to provide XYZ services. So we're just starting to prime that, right?
Mm-hmm.
To see. And if they're like, oh yeah, I love my bookkeeper, um, okay, but maybe there's not an opportunity there.
Yeah.
But if they're like, oh gosh, I I feel like I need a new bookkeeper, or like what kind of business that, then you're picking up the buying signals and then you're going to invite them to the
Yeah.
next step. But if you're not sure, am I talking to an ideal client? We've had a nice
Mm-hmm.
conversation. We have some rapport. The other thing you could do is you could say, now, you may or may not know that I provide bookkeeping services. And I'm wondering, who do you know that would
Mm-hmm.
benefit from having access to somebody like me? You could ask it that way. Or you could
Mm-hmm.
say, we've had a few conversations. It's been so fun to learn about your business and, about you. And I'm just wondering, is there ever an opportunity that I could be a resource to you or provide value to you through bookkeeping services?
Love
Like,
it.
it's a really kind way to ask essentially for somebody's business, but
Mm-hmm.
we're not doing it in a way like, do you want to hire me? It's more like, is there ever an opportunity or is there a time? And then it's just planting that seed. And they may
Mm-hmm.
initially be like, oh, I don't know. I don't know. But then the next time you see them at the thing, they might be
Yeah.
like, oh, I just had my bookkeeper is retiring, or my bookkeeper, raised
Yeah.
their prices, or whatever, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then now they're
Mm-hmm.
more open to coming back to you because they know that invitation is there.
Mm-hmm. I love that. Love
So
that.
I want you to create curiosity, and I want in the way that you answer your questions to them, to see if that piques for them some curiosity and makes them go like, well, what does that mean? Or what does that do? And you could do this too, just in somebody's like, gosh, Tracey, I haven't seen you, the last couple months. What have you been up to? This is
Mm-hmm.
where I want you to have your curiosity creating response, and something that it's like, is this a potential client? You could say something, and it should be true, whatever you
Sure.
come up with, right?
Mm-hmm.
It should be authentic. So if you said, oh, I have been onboarding a new client who is, super, like, has a really cool business. And once we've figured out the finances in her business, it's going to allow for her to do XYZ. So it's a short
Yeah.
answer. But again, it plants a seed where somebody's like, oh, well, I want to do that in my business. Like, what does
Yeah.
that mean? How does that work?
Love that.
Yeah.
Awesome. I love it. All good tips. I love it. I'm going to use it next week.
Okay. All right. It's so important that you think about creating curiosity. Now, there's a little bit more that I'll offer around networking. And I know that there's a training in the training center around networking. So,
Mhm.
for the society members, but the thing about networking is, I think before you go into the room that you have some specific like objectives and goals in mind. So I always call it the 3-2-1 of networking. Do you know what
Mhm.
I'm talking about when I say that? The 3-2-1?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So you're going to go in with this idea of like connecting with 3 new people. You're going to deepen connection with 2 people that you already have rapport with. And you're going to do everything you can to, of those 5, look for an opportunity to invite them to have a conversation outside of the group.
Mhm.
Okay.
Love that. Yes.
Now, here's the other thing I'll share about this, and then we'll like wrap this part up. But the other thing that I do recommend when you go to networking meetings, if you're going to go and get in your car and drive somewhere, right, to be, my suggestion is to try to build something around that, either before or after, with somebody that you want to deepen connection with. So this is a little different than the 3-2-1. This is actually more in alignment with what I call the Strive 5. Have you heard the Strive 5 from me
I don't
before?
think so. Mm-mm.
So Strive 5 is that like ideal list of people that you would like to get to know better. And you can have a Strive 5 list for all different kinds of like people you'd like to be clients. But for me, a lot of times, if I'm going to participate in a group, there are people in the group that I'll identify. Like there's something about them that I just want to get to know them better. I don't know if it'll go anywhere or what will happen with it, but maybe there's an opportunity for us to collaborate, to work together. Maybe they'll be a great referral partner. I don't always know
Yeah.
what it is, but there's certain
Hmm.
people that you identify that you're like, I'd like to get to know that person a little better.
Yeah.
So when I do that, once I have this like list of 5 people, then I purposely put myself in situations to try to deepen rapport with them. One of the ways I would do that is I would say, like, I used to go to this, it was like a dinner networking event, and it was at a restaurant and they had a little bar. And so I would ask somebody before each thing, like, hey, can we meet like a half an hour early? Like, it'd be so fun to just have some one on one time with you. I'd love to just buy you a mocktail or a cocktail and just get some one-on-one time with you before the networking meeting starts. And
Yeah.
so it was a way to maximize my time, right? Because now I
Hmm.
actually like I'm going to be there anyway. I might as well
Right.
go early and spend some time with somebody. And a lot of times those people would turn into clients or they would open the door for me for a speaking opportunity or a new client, somebody they would refer because they felt like they knew me, right? Like we were
Yeah.
getting to know each other. So that's the
Hmm.
other thing I would encourage you to do is really identify who are the people in the group that you feel like, I don't know what it is about this person, but I'd like to get to know them better. Do you know how to recognize and act on a buying signal? I have a gift that is going to teach you these 17 buying signals so that you're ready when you get them to take action and move somebody to the next part of the sales conversation. You can get this right now by going to yoursalesmaven.com/Maven. Go grab it now.
I love that. And
Okay.
so when you make that comment, so are you referring to like a BNI type group? Because a lot of times when I go to groups, I don't know who's going to be.
Right.
But sometimes there are some of the same people that
Yeah.
do show up. So I can understand what you're saying. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So I guess I was never a good participator in BNI because it's too structured for me.
Yeah.
But if it is BNI, yes, there will be certain people.
Mhm.
So can you meet like even if it's 15 minutes before just to have let's just have like a little just you and me get like sit down and have a little chat, get to know each other. Now what can
Mhm.
happen sometimes is that other people see that you're there and they like come over and like join the conversation. So
Yeah.
be aware of that too. That's fine. You never know. Um, but yeah, I think if you don't know who's going to be there, then, this is a little bit of a harder thing to do. But there's probably people in the BNI group that you could reach out to beforehand and say,
Mhm.
hey, are you going to be at, this week's meeting? And would you be open to us like meeting early for a coffee just to have
Yeah.
some time to get to know each other better?
Love
And
that.
it doesn't have to be a lot of time, like 30 minutes,
Yeah.
you know,
Just a few minutes
not a
before.
yeah, 15 minutes, fine too. Like just to have a little like get to know each other chat.
Love that. You're
Okay.
awesome. You always have good. I mean, that's why you're the sales maven because you like you have all these great tips and things that I would have never thought of. Like
Oh, you're sweet.
even
Thank
just
you.
the 3, 2, 1. I would have never thought of that. I just show up at a networking event and I just get ready to take notes. And then, the calendar, I know that was the skill that I learned the most was the calendar skill,
Yes.
having that available. I
Yes.
would not have had thought of that had not been in the group. So thank you.
I love that. I love that so much. Yes, thank you. And I'm glad that's working for you. And yeah, I think that and this comes from my background in studying neurolinguistic programming, there's a presupposition that says there's a structure to excellence,
Hmm.
right? And if you want to achieve exceptional results, like having some kind of a structure. So even with networking, instead of just going and being like, let's wing it, let's see what happens, which just so you know, that's a little bit of my style sometimes is like, I can be maybe that's not true. My husband would probably totally disagree. He's like, Nikki likes to know what the plan is. I can be flexible within the plan, but yeah, I like to know. But I do think having some kind of an outcome in mind, especially when you're spending your time,
Mhm.
which is so precious,
Yeah.
and money when it comes to networking and like
Mhm.
being at an event, like be strategic, have a structure that you're going to follow. So for me, that's the 3-2-1. And if that doesn't work for somebody, like come up with your own structure that works. But yes, to having some kind of a structure. So it's that you always kind of are like moving towards the outcome that you want. And I
Right.
think what you want right now is to fill the roster a little bit, right? Like to bring
Sure.
on some new
Yes.
clients. So be
Mhm.
strategic about it.
Awesome. Thank you. I will be using that. Thank you so
Okay,
much.
you're welcome. All right. So as we wrap up the episode, I always like to ask 2 questions. So one question for you is, what's one benefit you've received from being in the Sales Maven Society so far?
I would say the group coaching is one benefit that I have received so far. And within that, just hearing other people's questions sparks things that I didn't think I had a question for. So it's just, yeah, I learned so much by other people's questions to you. And then your responses are so thoughtful that I'm just like, it sometimes I may be apprehensive to ask a question, but then I see others and I'm like, oh, I have that. I have something similar I want to ask too. So yeah.
Good.
Definitely the group coaching.
Oh, I love that that's your answer because I love seeing you on the group coaching calls. So, and those are my favorite part of the society is the group coaching calls. So thank you. I'm so
You're
happy that
welcome.
you find value in that. All right. So how can people get a hold of you? Because I suspect there will be some listeners that are like, I need a little Tracey in my life and in my business. So what's the best way?
Sure, they could go to my website, which is Sunny Virtual. And it's Sunny like the sky, Sunny, and virtual like virtualassistant.com. And right there on the homepage, there'll be a welcome video and it will tell you what to do next. But if you don't want to watch the video, you can just go above that where it says getting started and just fill out the questionnaire and just get a hold of me so that I can learn more about you. And if you decide to purchase a bookkeeping diagnostic review, which is the first step in my process, which is a paid diagnostic review of your books, I'll give you 15% off if you mention that you heard me on Nikki's podcast.
Oh, that's so sweet. I love that. There you go. And if you're needing some diagnostics to know, like sometimes it's I don't know what I don't know, and I
Right.
need an expert to tell me. I love that
Yes.
you offer the diagnostics. That is
Yes.
brilliant.
Thank
Yes,
you.
so good. All right. Thank you for being here. Thank you for your question and for your participation in the group. I think the world of you, and I am just
Oh,
so cheering you on.
thank you, Nikki. I appreciate you having me on the show.
Thanks. All right. And for you, the listener, thank you for being here. Thank you for showing up each week, listening to the episodes, sharing, and giving your feedback about the episodes. I'm always delighted to hear what people's big takeaways are. So if you feel inclined to reach out and share about that, I'd love to hear it. If you feel inclined to leave a review of the podcast, I am so grateful for that as well. All right. Wishing you continued success. Have a great week.
Thanks for listening to Sales Maven. Visit us online at yoursalesmaven.com/maven for more resources to boost your confidence and skills.
Are you ready to increase your confidence in your sales conversations? I have a gift for you that is going to show you exactly how to do that. It is my Closing the Sale ebook. It's all about leveling up your confidence, giving you language to use, how to seamlessly move somebody through the sales process. And you can get it right now by going to yoursalesmaven.com/maven. Go grab it.